As we've seen in this last half hour, that STEM-related subjects are everywhere in our lives. In fact, from the northern reaches of Alaska to the bustling street of New York City, technology plays an integral part of our work and play. Lauren, are you ready for some teen tech talk?
Absolutely. We're so excited to be out here with robots and these fantastic smart women. You gotta love fantastic and smart ladies. Introduce yourselves. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hannon. And I'm Olivia Braglia. We're from Austin High School.
Is that where you came up with the name? Pretty creative.
Yeah, the Obot.
So is this your first robot?
This is actually our third robot. Yes, this is our third robot from last year. Last was our third year doing it. This would be our fourth year.
So what is it like at this point to have gone through so many robots? You're robot pros.
Well, it doesn't really seem like pros yet because every year there's something new to learn. This past season I worked on learning about the pneumatics of the robot and different air compression and stuff.
So now the robot actually comes in all sorts of parts. You don't have any kind of manual, right?
No, not at all. It's all design it on your own. You have all these different options, all these different materials that you can choose from.
Are you overwhelmed when you first get all the parts?
Yeah, at first it's the whole team of engineers we have, of our student engineers, all break apart and we all design different things, multiple versions of things, so we can really see what's like the most efficient.
Well, I think the anticipation has been building long enough. What do you think, ladies?
Yes,
so
definitely.
Let's see what this robot can do. I know there's a couple different steps here, right?
Okay.
So let's start with step one.
Okay, so first we're gonna pick up the robot.
All right, so we're picking up the robot. Is it loading the ball right now?
It's loading the ball using spinning wheels and a little ramp that then the ramp raises to hold the ball inside the robot.
Are we ready to give this a shot? Can we fire away?
We can fire away.
All right, let's do this. Whoa! And a lucky winner on the streets of Manhattan gets to walk away with that ball. I'm just kidding. No, you need that,
They
right?
won the grand prize, didn't they?
So now, do they tell you when you do this that the robot has to perform this function? How does that work?
Well, at the beginning of each season, we get a mission. So the mission changes every year. And basically, if you want to elaborate on that? Yeah, so January 3rd, the new mission comes out for this upcoming season's robot. And from there, we have 6 weeks to design the robot and build it and get it all complete.
And speaking of 6 weeks, you actually compete in a big-time competition with these robots.
Yeah, we do. There's one in New York City, the Javits Center competition, and like 66 different teams came out last year.
Are you nervous for your robot for this coming competition?
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of aggressive robot drivers, and then there's a lot of pressure to get it right and perform the task at hand.
Does the robot have a special home in school, special classroom, special desk?
Yes, right now it's living in our old greenhouse that used to be used for bio. Now we've commandeered it and made it our own.
All right, well, we're going to have a lot more ahead on First, the amazing organization that is keeping these kids motivated and interested in science, engineering, and technology. It's all ahead right here on American Graduate Day.
Well, that ragtag high school team taking on the big boys and big girls from MIT and Caltech was supported by First Robotics. The organization engages 250,000 kids each year, ages 6 to 18, competing in robotics at different levels nationwide. At the high school level, 8,000 students, guided by 2,800 professional mentors, comprise some 400 robotics teams. The competitions run like a major sporting event. Arenas packed, fans cheering, champions crowned. Are you ready for some robotics? Joining me now in the studio, co-founders of First Robotics Competition, Woodie Flowers, Professor Emeritus at MIT, and Dean Kamen, an acclaimed innovator and inventor of the Segway. I love that machine. Also joining us, Luther Banner, a student at MIT and a former First Robotics High School champion. Welcome to you all. Dr. Flowers, I want to start with you because I know this national competition really grew out of work you had your MIT engineering students do years ago.
It was back in the 70s, in the heyday of engineering analysis education. And some of us wanted to make sure that the students not only got good analytical thinking, but got in touch with their creative skills. So we gave them a kit of materials and said, build something to accomplish a task. Wasn't too surprising that MIT students would compete like crazy. But it was really wonderful to note that they accepted the challenge of not only competing like crazy, but treating one another graciously in the process. They worked together, taught each other everything they know.
You know, I think about that concept of teamwork and, and hands-on experimenting. I mean, how important are those to technological achievement?
That's what it's all about. That's what you're doing. That's what we're doing now. Every job that's out there likely does that. It doesn't, if you're a history professor, you better know enough technology to communicate your lesson to people through technology. Just about everything we do is deeply seated in both technology and society. And FIRST is about both those things.
Dean, tell us what FIRST stands for and why you decided to team up with Woodie to launch this competition.
So first, the word is for inspiration and recognition of science and technology. What's particular about it is the word education is not in it. I'm an inventor. What do inventors do? Inventors look at the same problem everybody else look at and see them differently. And even back 25, 30 years ago, this country was still, as it is today, wringing its hands about the education crisis. My mom's a teacher. To this day, I spoke to her this morning, a good, a passionate, a dedicated teacher. And she was pretty tired of being the butt of what society was saying was our problem. And I looked around and said, it's unlikely that the richest country in the world, which has more schools and better schools and all the great universities, it's unlikely that suddenly this country went from having great education to terrible education. So I asserted that we don't have an education crisis at all. We have a culture crisis. We became a country that had been for 200 years the conspicuous inventors and creators of wealth, to becoming the country that is the conspicuous consumer of wealth. And that kids in this country, frankly, had lost their edge because they'd been distracted by a world in which only two things create superheroes in that media age that had begun: the world of sports and the world of entertainment. And I said, what if we could turn sports and entertainment to put their focus on science and technology? What if we could take engineering and mathematics and inventing and creating and put it in a format that kids love, an exciting competition that at the end of the season you don't get a quiz or a test, you go to a double elimination tournament, you bring the cheerleaders, you bring the school bands, and what you really need in the world of science and tech that kids didn't have is superstars. They have superstars from the NBA and the NFL and Hollywood. Where are the superstars of science and tech? So I said, if I can go out to the big universities and the big corporations and find superstars of tech, put them in front of kids in an environment that's fun and appealing, kids will instantly realize that science and engineering and problem solving is every bit as fun, rewarding, exciting as bouncing a ball.
And the competition, that competitive aspect of this, Luther, is kind of what draws you in. I mean, you were a high school football star in St. Louis, and I guess you were sidelined by an injury, and then decided to get involved with a robotics competition. And I'm not sure which was more competitive.
You better answer this right.
I would say that it was a lot harder to be successful as far as competition-wise in FIRST, because there's just so many bright minds, and like we get in this environment where you pull in all these smart kids into one room and get them all focused on one task, and it's that moment, that aha moment, like when everyone realizes that, well, alone, yes, I probably could have generated a pretty good answer to this problem, but working together with everyone, we created something that we couldn't have imagined, beforehand, before we joined together to tackle this task.
And your team won the award that's named after you, Dr. Flowers, and that's for teamwork. Well, actually, it's for professional graciousness, right?
They knocked it out of the park. That in 2012, Luther and his colleagues won. One of their mentors won the Woodie Flowers Finalist Award. Kathy did a great job, and they wrote a great essay. They won the regional competition, but they also won the Chairman's Award, which is an exemplary award. It has more to do with the best relationship with community than the robot. So FIRST is not about robots. Robots are the campfire around which the tribe gathers. They're an excuse to do something really big together.
Well, congratulations to you. Good luck with your continued studies at MIT, and thanks, gentlemen, for coming and talking about this. I hope we've stirred up some fever about robotics and this kind of competition.
That's why we're here.
I think that'd be great. Well, you know, in this hour, we have covered 4 very different kinds of programs dedicated to creating interest and educational opportunities for students who otherwise might not have had the motivation or the access to explore STEAM. We hope you choose to continue the conversation online and on social media. Experts in the field are ready to take your questions, so head over to facebook.com/American Graduate right now and make your voice heard. We are going to recognize and salute our American Graduate champions from organizations who have joined us so far in the program. That's what we're doing, and in this last hour, we have added significantly to our forces. Our champions count now stands at 2,211,998. Wow. Your efforts to support a higher graduation rate are applauded and appreciated. We thank you. Now let's roll the program outside to Lauren Wanko, who's with the president of First Robotics, Don Bossi, who appears to have brought along a sample of what we've just been talking about. Lauren?
Yes, we are at a team here, the Robo control room. I think that's the fair thing to call it. What do you think?
It's a good name.
I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the success stories that you yourself heard. Tell me a little bit, because you made such a great impact on students' lives. What comes to mind?
What I was going to say is obviously the impact we have goes beyond igniting passion the kids never knew they had, all the way to helping them turn their lives around. And one story that comes to mind is of a young woman here in New York City. Let's just say she had a number of problems and had been kicked out of a number of schools and was kind of at her last chance high school. And she sort of serendipitously happened to come across the robotics team and got to become a member. And
I think I have to break this up here. I'm so sorry, because I think something else wants to
I was going to say something else is
Obviously,
here.
Don, this is the end of our conversation and the beginning of something new. Guys, what are we looking at here? First of all, Team Robo Tigers.
Yes.
Where are you from?
We're from Long Island City and Queens Vocational Technical High School.
So tell me, what does this robot do? Because they seem similar, right? We've seen a number so far, but they're all very different in terms of design.
Well, they shoot the ball, but our robot is a little bit different because it intakes the ball using this lever that brings in the ball, and then it shoots it out.
All right, well, you know what? I think I need to give this a shot. What do you think, Don? I am making you host for this segment by handing over the microphone. All right, let's check this out. Let's see if I could do this. What do I, just stand position here? Hands up? Do I get a second try if this is not working? How'd I do? Was that good?
Good job.
All right, now we actually end up, I'll take this mic back from you. Now, do we actually have to put the ball back in front of the robot and it feeds it? Can we see how that works? Oh, that's great. So let's talk a little bit, let's turn this robot around. Does the robot have a name?
Yes, Master Roshi.
Okay, now, why does he have a webcam? It looks like a webcam.
That's for positioning of the goal, positioning of the robot to shoot into the goals. That big ball that goes into the slot.
Now, how has the robot done in competition so far?
It's done actually really well, better than we expected.
Do you have a new design planned?
Well, we don't know what game is coming for us in January.
All right, well, we've got all that and a whole lot more here on American Graduate Day.